glad to have you joining me today on this beautiful sunny day. I'm out here on my front porch and I'm going to be doing some decorating out here today. It's long overdue. I've had my flowers now for about probably a month, and the days here, the pretty sunny days, guys, they have been few and far between, let me tell you. So I am excited to have this pretty day today. I can't wait to get to decorating. Probably this is one of my favorite times of year to decorate my porch because, you know, when you add in these pretty flowers and just spruce it up, and you have the reds and the whites, and I always like to decorate kind of Americana looking. It's so pretty for summer, and when you turn in the driveway, it just kind of jumps out at you. So I'm really excited to get working on this today. I've had my plants bought now for probably a month. They've been sitting here on the porch. I've kept them watered, and they've just been waiting for me to come out here and give them some attention and get them planted. So today is that day. I've got a few things new that I have, a couple things I've made, and one thing that I bought well, a couple of things that I've bought, nothing major. And I just thought I'd share those with you, what I'm planning on doing with those, and just kind of give this porch a refresh. Oh, guys, it is in desperate need of one. It looks so bad right now. I'll kind of give you guys a look of what it looks like right now before we get started, and then we'll see if it makes a big difference by the time we get finished by the end of the day. So I hope you guys will stick around, and we'll just see how it looks when we're all done. All right, so here's the flowers I've got to work with. Got some white geraniums, red geraniums, a couple of ferns, an asparagus fern, and some of these, I've got a lot of flowers out here, but some of these are gonna, I may use maybe one of the white ones over in my side garden. I'm just not sure what I'll use on this front porch, but I also got some smaller plants to put in little buckets I've got and make little planters. Got some creeping jenny, sweet potato vine, some bacopa. They're looking a little wilted where I've had them sitting off the porch here in the sun. And just some single geraniums and some white petunias. But they'll all perk back up once I get them all planted where they're going to be. Here's my little porch looking all pitiful. No flowers, no greenery. It's got some decorations hanging, but they just don't look very good right now. Of course, this little planter I had is empty, waiting on flowers. And my little pillows in my chairs are not the color I want out here. I'll probably be changing this sign up here. Changing the pillows out down here on this end. I'm probably going to use my same little tavern sign again. I do like that. I don't know, we'll see. Got lots of work to do out here, that's for sure. With Memorial Day just around the corner, and summer and 4th of July will be here soon, I thought I would add in some Americana samplers on my Shopify store. So I've added 4 new sampler prints that I've done, and I wanted to share those with you. This first one is a little long and narrow sampler. A lot of you have asked for those. And it says Sweet Land of Liberty with a little log cabin, and it measures 6 inches by 12 inches. And this one says Land of the Free, Home of the Brave, with a ship that has a flag waving off the back of the ship. And I always love the ones with the ships. It says Boston, Massachusetts, and it measures 8 inches by 14 inches. This little sampler, just very simple, says Old Glory, has a little colonial looking man holding a flag, and this one measures 4 inches by 6 inches. And this last one says In God We Trust, and it has a little salt box kind of perched on top of a little rise with a flag, and it measures 8 inches by 8 inches. So be sure and check these out if that's something that you might be interested in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to try to do is get all these flowers planted. And once I get the flowers planted, I'll kind of know better where I want to add some kind of decoration. So let's start with getting these geraniums planted in here. I've got two really big, beautiful geraniums to put in here. And I've still got my pot and soil in here from last year. I bought new last year, so it'll be fine to use this again. I know a lot of people ask me, do you use the same pot and soil every year? Do you change it? Do you have to change it every year? I know people have different opinions on it, but I don't change mine every year, and they grow big and beautiful from now until like November. So it's been working for me. Let's see here. Let me cut these wires off of this so I can get this out of here. I got my hole a little too deep. Now this is the tricky part, is getting your hand in here in between all these geraniums so that you can flip your bucket over and get this out of here. I try to loosen up those roots just a little bit. Make sure I don't have that a little bit. I think I got it a little bit too low. My hole's too deep. Now then. Alrighty. We've got some little dead ones we need to nip off of here. I need to get some fresh pot and soil. I got a whole new bag of fresh pot and soil, and I'm going to fill in around the edges once I get this one planted. You know, I've tried different things in here, but I always seem to go back to these red geraniums. They just seem to really show up good from the road. So I just kind of going to stick with those. All right, let's get this wire cut off. And what I like to do, for those of you that saw my video last week, well, it was actually a couple weeks ago when I was doing my back deck, I like to decorate with the Americana flags and red and white flowers and greenery in the summer. And I kind of want this porch and my deck to kind of be decorated the same way. See if we can worm our hand down in here. Let me go get some fresh pot and soil and fill these in. Now, I already came out here one day, I don't know, probably a couple weeks ago, and wiped down the chairs and everything where the pollen was all over it. Now it looks like I got a little bit of a layer back, but not much. I can just dust that off. They're a little droopy looking for now, but they'll perk back up after we water them. And now that we've transplanted them into a bigger pot, they'll be okay. So last year, Greg and I made this little planter. It's made out of an old dough tray, and we put legs on it. And I had planted some single geraniums, some sweet potato vine, asparagus fern, some white bacopa, some different things in here. And it was really pretty, but there were certain things that grew better than others, so it ended up getting some spots where it almost had holes in the, I wasn't that happy with it. So what I know will work this year, if I just put two big geraniums, it's going to stay full and pretty, at least I think it will, all season. So I think I'm just going to put two of these big geraniums in here. Okay, let's get my wires cut off again. These geraniums are really big this year. I'm going to clean that mess up I made a little bit. I kind of got some dirt, geraniums remnants that have fell on the floor. Okay, I think I've got one last big red geranium to plant. I had thought about putting a white geranium in here, and the white ones had gotten so tall and leggy that in a big planter like this, I'm afraid they would just fall over, and I didn't want to have to stake them. So these red ones are still full and will fill this pot up. So I'm just gonna stick with the red like I always do. It seems to show up pretty. Because with my house being white, the white sometimes just doesn't show up that well. Oh, this one's heavy because I must have watered it this morning. Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to put something in here, maybe something green in here. All right, so I've got this little watering can here, and it's going to sit over there in that chair beside the big red geranium. So I'm going to try to plant something in here with a little green and a little white in it. And this has got old dirt left in it from last year, but it's gotten really hard, so I'm going to get this out of here. I think I'm going to use this bacopa and let that trail down the front. And I'm going to put this asparagus fern in the back to give it a little height. And that'll fill in pretty. Now let's try this sitting there in that little chair. Well, I think that looks pretty in that chair. I like that. It's got a little bit of white in it, and I like that. Okay, y'all, this spot here has nothing to do with my front porch, but I kind of got a dilemma going on. I've got these boxwoods that run across the front of my porch, and one of them died last year. We've tried to replant. We tried to move some around. We've done different things. So until we kind of figure out what we're going to do about these boxwoods, we've got the other end looks really pretty. They've grown pretty. This end, this one looks good, but from here down, they just don't look good. So this one was just completely dead. So I said, well, I can't seem to find one that's the same size as these. It's going to look funny. I said, I'm just going to stick this bee skep shed here. And instead of putting a bee skep in here, I think I might put something green. I bought an asparagus fern, so I'm going to try setting that in there inside of a little bucket or something. And let's try that and see if that will work. It's not good, wouldn't be my first choice, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. All right, so let's try this. Here's the infamous lizard bucket, the one that had the lizard in it a couple weeks ago. Let's try if we set that. Let me see if I can set this asparagus fern down in here. It's a little too high. We need a pot that's a little bit lower. All right, let's try this. And I don't think that looks bad. I like the little galvanized bucket color in here with the wood. So it'll have to work for now until I can figure out what I'm going to do about these boxwoods I've got here. Now I think what I'm going to do is try to use one of these white geraniums right here with all this brown, kind of like I did on my back deck. There's a lot of brown going on, and I really think that the white geranium would probably look pretty there. So let me cut these wires off and we'll try it and see. You know, getting your plants planted is just the beginning. Then you got to figure out your pillows and your rugs and what you want to hang on the walls of your porch. So we still got some work to do. Okay, I think that looks good there. I like the white there. So before I start planting any of my little buckets or my little wooden buckets, I'm going to clean up my mess a little bit, and then I'm going to maybe try to hang a few things out here. That way I'll better know where what I want to put in these pots and where to put them. So let's clean up a little bit, and then I'm going to show you something that I made and something that I bought. All right, I think what I'm going to do now is, since I've mostly got everything planted on this side, I'm going to try to finish working on this side. And I know I'm not going to use this up here, so I'm going to take this down. What I did on my porch last year, well, actually for the last few years, I've had this sign that I dearly loved it. I bought it at a yard sale that a friend of mine had, and it just said America on it. And last year was just the last year I could use it. It had just gotten it was just about to fall apart. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna try to make me a sign like that one because I loved it so much. So I did. And what I did this one kind of like I did my tavern sign. I made a sign, and then I just used something that I'd found at Goodwill. This was just a sign that I had found at Goodwill. So I just turned it over, painted it, and it's just like the sign that I had here. And all I did was take that sign and I just traced the letters off of that sign and then drew them on here and painted it. So hopefully I can get this thing hung up here. Well, I hope it's going to fit right with this little fixture I've got up here. We will see. I think that'll work. I really can't get it up any higher because of that fixture. So I think that'll work. We'll kind of clean off some of this off of this shelf. And these are my little bird nests that my little grandson Cooper and I have collected. And bless his little heart, I was down there the other day and we were getting ready to go somewhere. I was getting in the car and he come running and he was so excited. And he was, Granny, Granny, Granny. I said, what, baby? And he had found a big, pretty bird nest. And he said, look, I found us a bird nest. So I've got that one in my car. I need to go get that right now and add that to my collection. I will be right back. So y'all can see this is a big bird nest. It's kind of odd looking, but we're going to keep it here. And guys, I wanted to share with you this bee skep that I got about 6 weeks ago at the Nashville Junk Hunt. Now, it was this light color here. It was real light. And this morning I have tried to paint it. And I tried to paint it with some just acrylic paint, just the little paints, like just the little bottles of paint like you get at the craft stores. And that just didn't work. It looked too pink looking. I used a barn red and it just looked too pink. So now I've got this spray paint. I'm going to try this because I just didn't like this really, really light color that it was. And I even tried the Waverly Antiquing Wax and that didn't really change the color much. So this is last resort. So we're going to try this and see what this does. And the color I'm using it's Krylon Satin Brick is the name of it. So we'll see what this does. Now I can always maybe go over it with some of the antique and gel if it's too bright looking. But we'll try it and see. Now, of course, it's going to look bright when I first put it on. But I think it'll dry more dull looking. Because I just wanted to have one on my back porch that Miss Betty Crow gave me. Miss Betty Crow is my sweet friend that lives in Clinton, Tennessee. And I did her house a few years ago, and I loved her bee skep that she had, and she remembered that, and I got one in the mail about a week after I got home. And I just love that, and I've got it on my back deck, and I wanted one that was similar on my front porch. And these bee skeps are really hard to find around here, so when I found this one at the show in Nashville, I was excited. So we'll see what this looks like when it gets dry. Let me get this top part. Okay, so this is dry. We spray painted it with that paint, and it was a satin finish, and it's way too shiny. This is not going to work. So we're going to dull this down with some of this Waverly Antiquing Gel. This is kind of my go-to for everything. It's Waverly Antiquing Wax. I think it's what it's called, Antiquing Wax. And it dries a real flat looking, there's no sheen to it. Hopefully it won't dry shiny. I mean, I know it's not, this stuff is not shiny, but I hope it covers up the shiny on this paint. Now I'm going to let it sit out here in the sun and dry. And let's hope after it dries that we got rid of that shiny. Crossing my fingers. Okay, now I'm going to work on this side a little bit. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use this table somewhere else because I got a new table from Tractor Supply that matches my bench and my winter chairs. And it's by Red Shed from Tractor Supply. So hopefully it shouldn't be too hard to put on. All I got to do is screw in 4 legs. So I bet I can handle that. See what kind of tool we've got to have. Well, this looks simple enough. Yeah, I got this little table at Tractor Supply, and I got it when it was on sale with 30% off, so it was $59.99 plus tax. And I think it'll look good out here because it matches all the other chairs and benches I have. Alrighty. Whew, that's got it. Okay, now I've got my table put together. I've taken all the pillows off of this bench, so I'm going to work right here on this section. I'm going to figure out something to plant right here to put on this new table. I'm going to put me some flags in this basket and then put my pillows on this little bench to make it more comfortable. So let's try to just put these in here. All right, we're going to plant this geranium in the back. And this geranium is a little different than the ones I usually get. The leaves are they're more lime green, but they're really pretty. Now let's put this little sweet potato vine right up front here so it can trail down the front. And let's see. Maybe this little petunia, we'll set it over here, right in here. Now we're going to put this little asparagus fern right in here. All right, that looks mighty pretty. Clean up my mess. Let's set this up here on our table. Now that looks pretty right there, and all we need to do now is add some pillows to our little bench. That'll kind of soften that up. There's the pretty little flowers. I think that looks pretty. Okay, now I think I want to put something here as you walk in the door. I've got a couple of ferns, and I'm trying to decide how I want to put these ferns, because I don't want it to get too crowded over here, but I just think ferns are pretty by the door. So I've got this table. That's too much. All right, I've got this little table, and it's just a little reproduction table, so I'm going to try to see if I can set this. It's not very big, and it'll get that fern up higher. I just really don't like that fern that low on the porch. And I just had an idea as I was putting this fern up. I think I'm actually going to change this end down there of the porch. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. Now, I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to swap this table and this chair. That way I can kind of have the chair, and it'll be like a little place where, you could kind of sit and talk, I guess, so to speak. So I'm going to swap this out, because I ended up with an extra Windsor chair when I made those benches for my deck. So I moved it out here, and I think I'm going to move it here closer to this bench. And the bee skep, it's looking better. It's not really the color I would have chosen, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to get some pillows that I have got for these chairs, and we'll see if we like this or not. So I bought these pillows off of Amazon, and they're pillow covers, so you have to get pillow inserts to go inside them. But they're very affordable, so much better than making pillows, because I never seem to find any of the pillows that are our kind of style. I have a hard time finding them, so I really like these. And they came in a 2-pack with each one of these. And so I bought 2 sets of these. And I think I'm going to use the small check on my bench. And then I got these to go on the other 2 Windsor chairs at the end of my porch. And guys, I'm going to link these down in my description box in case any of you like these. Again, they come just like this. You get a pair like this, and I just bought two sets, and I'll link that in my description box. Now, y'all, I just love this pillow. This is another one that I ordered off of Amazon, and it was a pillow cover. And then I just ordered a box of 4 pillow inserts, and they come all compressed and packed, and when you open them, they just poof up. Very, very inexpensive. And so this was very inexpensive also, and I like it because it looks old looking. It looks kind of worn. I really like that. So I'll link this pillow down in my description box as well. So let's see how that looks. I think that looks pretty, but I definitely think we need some kind of plan up here. So let me see what I've got left here to work with. Here, let me try this fern. Yeah, guys, I think it's going to have to be the fern. So let me clip those wires off. Okay. Well, I think we're about good on this side. I just like a couple of things over on the other end. So let me move this camera around. Okay, I may try to use this little table here. I don't know, it looks like it may bump your leg as you come through. But I think what I can do, I believe, let me get me a hammer. Okay, I think, because this is 2 boards right here. So I think I can take one of these boards off and just, I don't know, let me see. This thing's about had it anyway. If it doesn't work, I haven't really lost anything. That's the good thing about this primitive stuff that we like. Can't really hurt it. Okay. All right, now, here's my idea. Well, that's cute, just like it sets. But I think I can, that's a nail right there. Just use one of the boards on here. See, that'd be perfect. If I can get this to nail right here. You won't be able to see that back there because my plant's going to cover it up. Let's see if we can make that work. Ricky will probably come walking around here in a few minutes, y'all, and he'll say, "What in the world are you beating on?" Well, I think this little table fits right there okay now that I disassembled it and tore it all to pieces. So I've just got to figure out which plant I'm going to set here. But before I do that, I bought this rug the other day. We have a store called Old Time Pottery, and I'm sure some of you have the same store. And it kind of, I don't know, I just liked it. It kind of looked like a coverlet a little bit. So I'm going to put my new little doormat rug here. Okay, I'm just about done. I don't like too much. Getting a little tired. I've been at it since this morning. All right, I'm going to put these pillows in here. Kind of perks it up a little bit. And now I have a few more plants to plant. So I've got this bucket here that's already got some dirt in it. So I'm going to put these last few plants in here and then find somewhere to put that.